So, welcome to Fursuit Animatronics. We'll be going over a couple of projects today. Oh yes, I am Paul. Last year I did a similar panel in which I didn't know anything, and now I know everything. So, hooray! What happened was I had an okay education, but not a great one, and then I spent the last year at Carnegie-Mellon, the Robotics Institute. So everything that I thought was impossible is laughably easy. And everything I thought was simple is in fact so complex as to be not worth doing. And what we have here, you have seen it in motion. Let us put it into motion again. This is the basis for the animatronic. It's an animatronic tail, sort of the basis for the project so far. The physical basis for it. So let me just plug it back in. It will do its timed wagging motion, or not. It's a little rough, as you can see. The wire here jumps out, but it doesn't really matter because it still works. Very robust design. I found it on Thingiverse. So this is not my design. If this goes into production, I will design my own that's going to be done with, what do they call it? Mold injection. You know, something a little bit more robust than 3D printing a bunch of parts and hoping that they put together right. But yeah, drags back and forth. I could, if I wanted to, speed it up. Currently, I forget what speed, but now I should slow down. And yeah, change the speed a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Slowed down, and I think I speed up that much, but it's not like that. Sorry, I forget what I think I put max speed of 40, so slow down, stops, and then goes again. Anyway, so, I mean, speed is basically right now just limited by the fact that if the servo goes too fast, it might overheat or short, or more importantly, what I'm basically worried about is if it goes too fast, it'll just break something in the structure here. But that was the basis. I actually did this part last, which is the funniest part of it. I did first I just checked to see if I could make it turn and what the parameters were, because if I turned the servo all the way, it would stop working because it's too far in the, right now, I mean, this is a perfectly good tail motion. Then I did the part with the muscle sensors, and then I did this just to show off that it goes back and forth in this way. So we will stop it for a moment. Let's unplug it. And I was like, well, maybe I should get one of those Myo armbands. I don't know if you've seen them, the really big chunky armbands, so you can do all sorts of injector controls. And then I thought, well, that's a waste of money when you can just get the Myo little muscle sensors here. Now this is not an 18 plus. Now, in theory, ideally, of course, one would be putting this on a part of the body which controls the tail. But this is not an 18 plus panel, so sticking electrodes to my butt is probably not going to endear me much to the convention. Instead, let me just find the little sticky electrodes. I will show you with them attached to my wrist. And this is just, I'm actually putting everything together in front of you so you can just see how easy it is. Simple, just plug things in. I just soldered it into place and just connect up. These are all all the power connections that go into this little breadboard here. And then sensors, mouse. And I mean, this is the wire that carries the data from the Myo controller, and it goes into the Arduino board in different places. And let me make sure I plug it into the right place before I do it. And it goes into A01. Okay. So it doesn't really matter at the moment which one's which. Obviously, if this were to go into production, I would care which sensor went to which side of the tail, but right now, I mean, it's just for demonstration purposes. I can go in multiple directions with relatively inexpensive materials. So each one is, and then this goes into the other Myo sensor I have. And then I'll talk a little bit more about possibilities and other projects and so on once I've demoed that. Or maybe we should instead actually, we'll stop for questions once I've done this part. If anyone has anything to ask about how the project works, and then we'll move on. So then, where's the left? this little turkey right now, as I said, is just sort of rapid prototyping stuff, so you have to put it together and take it apart when you're done with it. So, laying everything out. Oh, I haven't actually plugged anything in, which is good. I shouldn't plug it in first. And then here are little sticky electrodes. They do make permanent cloth ones. They tell you how to make permanent cloth ones, but again, it's being what it is. So you stick all the little electrodes on. And you see this is the sort of ground neutral terminal, so it goes to a bony part where there isn't a muscle. And these two go across the muscle, the two that just stick on like this, here and here. And they read signals across the muscle. And then I'll just do the other one for a moment. And yeah, all these are relatively inexpensive material, things just put together. And then you just take the tape off on here, where it can get a little weird. Because the conductive gel bioconductive, whatever the hell they call it, is sticky and nasty and not nice. But you can put it just about anywhere where there's a decent amount of muscle traffic. Just for ease thing, put it here, so you can see muscle moves under the skin there, and then I put it on the bone here. And then another one goes on the other arm. And once that's done, I plug it in, everything in, load the new program, and hope to hell that it works the way it did last time I did this. And if someone, just a moment when I get this on, if someone wants to hold the tail up the way I was doing before, that would be nifty. It can just sit there, it's okay, but probably shows off a bit more in the motion otherwise. So we upload the new jiggers. And where is the power plug for this one here?
Go for it.
And this thing like this. And then once I plug it in, you can see all of these work. All these are going. And you see when I... Whoops. What? Did it not upload? Oh, not yet. I forget Arduino is A. I mean, A does not have a type. What the hell is A? Where did that come from? No, that's just the back and forth. That's the normal silliness, because I have forgotten that Arduinos are dumb as a box of rocks when it comes to uploading while you have serial ports open. So let's hope. There we go. Yeah. What are you doing wrong? These are no position. Yeah. Weird. You might as well put it down for a moment. I'll take you a moment to figure out what just went wrong here. Because it's sending fine? Did it not? No, everything was plugged in. Let me just reset the jigger here. Tail. Yeah, there we go. So, at rest, and then at rest, takes a moment to decide I'm at rest, and then, no. I feel like Magneto here. And rest, and yeah. And yeah, if it gets both inputs similarly, yeah, see, I'm now giving it confusing inputs as I do it that way. Because apparently my right arm is just a little bit more powerful than my left. So if my right arm is giving it the signal, it generally wants to go right most of the time. Yeah, you can see it's sort of struggling now, but. And so anyway, that demonstrates it works, all right? Very nice, neat, not a lot of pieces. So you can put it down if you want. That just about covers everything. And now the gel is stuck to me. Yeah, it's just gonna flop around while I googly at it. Maybe I should stop so it doesn't go berserk and fly off the table. I don't know. So, any questions while I still connected to the machinery?
Yeah, how well do the electrodes pick up if they're like stuck to your face? Like, can you grin and have it recognize that?
Probably. I would hold that off though for the cloth version of these, because the gel is like if you feel it when I take one of these off, you can feel like it just gets all over the place. I wouldn't want it on my face. All right, now it's being confused. I better take the power. All right. And yes, I have actually tested the electrodes on my butt, and they work. So they work much better actually, because your butt has some serious signal strength in it, very easily differentiated. But again, dropping trout would probably not endear me to the con committee. This is not a NC-17 rated electrodes attached to strange places sort of panel. So, any other questions before I move on to another project? No, everything's good, so no question about the tail, not about the sensors. All right, well, so that's good. My question, who would be willing to back a Kickstarter? All right. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know what the price point would be yet. I'd have to find out. I have to redesign. I'd have to make a new design for this to use injection molding rather than 3D printing. The sensors, I think, are $35 each, and I don't know what a new cloth electrode would be, but probably not too much. And the Arduinos are like, I think they're $12.50 a piece. And you can do a heck of a lot. You know, I've only got a couple of things plugged into this. You can do a lot more fine control with it. I could probably even adjust the speed of it with the Messel input. It's just for, again, demo purposes. That might not be immediately apparent. Oh no, the reason it's connected to a computer is for troubleshooting. You saw I had to have a moment to figure it out. If I mean, I didn't bring it with, unfortunately. I have a 12-volt battery. You could just attach, because the Arduino has, so you can see it's all sticky on you. The Arduino has this little barrel connector here, which most 12-volt rechargeable batteries match that same input, or even wall mounted. But then again, you're supposed to be stuck to a wall. But yeah, so any 12-volt rechargeable battery could run this, no problem. And they make very small ones, and it doesn't need a lot of power to run because USB connections don't have a lot of juice, and they run the whole thing. That may have though been why the tail was stopping in a couple of places when I had it hanging. Because this servo momentarily asked for more power than the computer was prepared to give it. It's probably what was happening there. So if I had a servo that was a little bit more efficient or a little bit more, that behaved better, and it was going to do the 12-volt, it'd be cool. Yeah, I really like the way the design went, because it's got this nice tension thing. Because that's what it's doing. It's not like, when I turn the wheel, you can see it just pulls the little wire here, and it curves very well. And I don't no real upper limit on how long the tail can be either, because you just add more rings. And the servo seems to be able to handle it pretty well. The reason why the wire slips out of the yellow thing here is because the spring is supposed to sort of regulate the motion of the rings, of the little circles here. But unfortunately, I picked a spring that pulls rather than pushes. So it pulled the thing out of alignment. If I had an Allen wrench, I'd probably just take that off and it worked better. That's what you do. So, yeah.
So the sensors cost $35 a piece?
Yeah.
And they're disposable? Or
oh, no. The red part. The little red bits. No, these things here that I'm going to risk trying to detach while they're, the way it's said. These things are like, I forget how much I paid for them. You get them in 6 packs. I think it was like $2. But again, if I were putting this into like a Kickstarter production sort of thing, I'd be trying to find a reusable deal. With that done, this was the project I managed to do that I got done this summer. The next idea is something I found on Adafruit, which I want to mod, which is, turn this around, oh, I can just unplug there, LED, LCD sort of, or OLED screens with moving eyes. Now, what I would want to do there is use the Arduino for eye tracking, have little IR sensors or something similar to that, something with decent night vision on the inside of the Fursuit head, which could track the person's eyes inside the head. And then the eyes would move with their, so the eyes would look in the direction they're looking. Possibly even blink, well yeah, blink with them would be easy enough. If it doesn't see anything, it closes the eyes. So that's the next project, don't know how long that'll take. This I did pretty much, I started it in late July. I started it right after IndyFurCon. Here it is. Turned out to be a lot simpler than I thought it would be, which is nice. And that's the next project. Not much really to say beyond that, that's the aim. Yeah, this wasn't really an hour-long panel thing, it's just I thought maybe people would also have things they wanted to share that they've done. I saw a couple of good, I think it was your tail I saw was really nice, good work on that. This is not strictly biometronic, but this is just an interesting aside. Who would want to guess what the smallest creature with legs is?
Dust mite?
Probably, so conservatively 1 millimeter in length, right? Largest creature with legs.
Longest legs are the largest creature.
Largest creature. What?
Imagine an elephant.
No? There are bigger critters with legs.
Define big. Volume, mass, height.
All.
Tall.
Brontosaurus, well not Brontosaurus, they don't exist, but Apatosaurus, for instance.
They've actually been back on that now. They're now saying Brontosaurus was a real dinosaur, but it was a different variety.
Oh yeah, I heard that too. Well, they'll catch it. Hopefully that's the last word on it. In any case, so about 10 meters. So we've gone from 1 millimeter to 10 meters. That's a difference of what, 10 to the fifth? 10,000, no, sorry, 10 to the fifth. So about 10,000, no, 100,000, sorry. 100,000 order differences. So 5 orders of magnitude. That's pretty amazing if you think about it. Legs work all the way up that sort of scale. Anyway, this side. And interestingly enough, they have almost exactly the same gait. With the exception of horses, almost every animal in the world has the same set of gaits. That only work. That's not nothing to do with the projects I'm working on, but it's just an interesting aside if you ever work on like stilts or anything. So, does anyone have anything they'd like to share? No? Does anyone have anything? Who would be willing to pay $100 for something that would work better than this? All right. Fair enough. Well, if I start a Kickstarter, I'll be sure to let IFC know. And as usual, I never have very much content for these things, but just like, hey, look at the thing. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's the thing. Last time what I did was a lot of people had things they wanted to say about their own animatronics. But yeah, if everyone's good with this. No sense in holding people up on me being long-winded about the various projects. Thank you very much.
Pay $100 to get something like that so I can bang my tail.
It's like what would be really interesting is if it would be able to support like a large amount of fabric and be able to attach it somehow to a fursuit.
Well, that's the idea, yeah. No, this is the spine for it, right? You could put this into an
Yeah.
existing fursuit too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, this is the inside, because the thing is, if you look at it, there's nothing that would really catch on the inside of a fursuit tail. It just...
Yeah. It was like, because I know Nekomimi ears exist, but I've been wanting like a tail that moves like
Yeah.
with the sensors for a while.
Mhm.
I mean, the Nekomimi I think does brain waves or something.
Yeah,
It does. It sends by
very...
your brainwaves.
Yeah.
If then I could put the sensors on my butt and just.
Just like really just exercise your clenching.
No, I tested it. Yeah, it worked very well for that. So, I don't know if anyone wants to feel like the screwy gel, but the reason why I want to use the cloth things rather than that is that. Yeah, there might have been a bit more content if they'd given me a projector, but I'm not
yeah.
going to fight them.
I would not want that on my face.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Right there.
Those?
Hey.
Those a bit sticky?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, but I wouldn't know how to do it.
Would